short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject's property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and recording will be part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at all the properties and will record the reflect of their observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of the committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decisions to make an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustments. Information and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of the 10-day period. I will introduce the committee to you. Far left, Jerry Rathmo, Fred Gallerup, Bob Wadle, Terry Dopp Hockstead, zoning administrator. To my right, and my name is Mark Kirshner. The first and only applicant that we have tonight is a conditional use. Lloyd J. and Lois A. Coyle Revocable Living Trust, Wautoma, Wisconsin, has made an application for a conditional use after the fact in accordance with sections 58-236, paragraph 18, and 58-454, paragraph 31 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to store a 1991 Sportsman 32-foot travel trailer in an AG3 general agricultural 3-acre minimum lot size zone. Location, an approximate 20.106 acre parcel of land known as lots 5, 6, 7, and 8 of certified survey map 129, and discontinued road between lots 5 and 8 and lots 6 and 7 being part of the fractional southwest quarter of section 30, town 18 north, range 9 east, town of Richford, fire number W11944, Check Avenue. Is the applicant present?
He's a little hard of hearing.
Okay, would you step up to the microphone and state your name for the record, please?
Lloyd J. Cole.
Okay, Lloyd, can you tell us a few things about what you want to do or what?
Yes, I own the property next to it for 20 years. And I sold that in 2008. And so I kept this 20 acres at that time, not knowing which way I would go, whether I'd keep the land or sell it. And it happened so fast on the sale of the other one, I didn't have much think time at all. I put it up for sale on Friday and it was sold on Saturday. And the auctioneer that I got for it, he promised he'd have it at a certain time, and come find out he canceled out. He says, I got one before I got you, so you're out. So I'm scrambling for an auctioneer now. And so I didn't have much time to do any thinking about what I'd like to do with that 20 acres back there. Except when I moved to an apartment here in Wautoma, I can't just sit around, so I said, well, I'm going to keep that 20 acres and then turn it into something useful and have a garden over there, which I have done and have continued to do since I sold that land. I now primarily have it for wildlife, and I have plenty of it over there. I plant crops for them, I maintain the wood, and so on and so forth for all the wildlife, and enjoy it. And I'm only 86 now, and I want to enjoy a few more years of it. So this is what I'm trying to do.
Okay, Lloyd, committee's got a couple of questions they're going to ask you about the trailer.
Sure.
And stuff. Okay, you ready?
Okay, has there been a recent survey done on that, Lloyd?
Pardon me?
A recent survey?
Not to my knowledge.
You do know where your lot lines are, though?
Yes, I do. They're staked out all around.
Is the trailer licensed and roadworthy?
Yes. It's, the inspector saw that yesterday rather.
Will the trailer be at least 100 feet from all lot lines?
It is.
Can you explain where the trailer is now and where it will be at different times throughout the year? It appears that changes in locations and maybe even stored elsewhere over the winter months. Is that?
Yes, in the winter months, soon as I get a deer or the hunting season's over, why, it will be parked on that old property I sold to Mark Cromie, a building that I had put up, and I believe I submitted pictures of that trailer in that building.
Yep.
That's where it's been in the wintertime ever since I've had it.
Okay. Will there be running water out there, Lloyd?
No, I have a well out there, but it will not be hooked up to the trailer.
What type of sanitary facilities are there or are you planning?
I have a picture of the sanitary as far as porta potty type thing. I submitted a picture of that. I bought it brand new as soon as I got the trailer. Haven't used it. I only stayed in it two different nights during hunting season. I like to be over there on Friday before. I stay Friday night, and then go from there.
Okay.
Because I don't want to have sneak in early this morning.
Okay, we noticed other small structures out there. Those weren't outhouses, were they?
No,
Are any other buildings or structures being planned?
no.
Are there other trailers in the area or like instances like trailers parked on property in the area?
On my property?
No, in the immediate area that you're aware
Not
of.
to my knowledge, no. There might be down the street down there. There was some off there one or 2 years ago anyway.
Is a new driveway needed for your property?
A new driveway? Just the one that I have there at where the 11944. Right.
Is the property in the managed forest law?
No,
And you do have a uniform property address number out there, correct?
pardon?
Property address number, uniform number, fire number?
Yes,
And if approval is granted, it says when would the trailer be placed, but it's there already, but you would move it after deer hunting.
right.
Okay.
In the same place as where you saw in those pictures.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Any other questions for Lloyd, Jerry, or Fred? Okay, you can have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
We have no correspondence and no one registered to speak.
Staff comments?
For the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the data submitted for this application. I'd like to explain a little bit about conditional use permits. All defined zones have uses that are permitted outright, along with uses that may be permitted provided that certain parameters can be complied with. And that's so that the use remains in keeping with the other surrounding uses in the area. In some counties, these are called special exception permits, and sometimes that's easier for people to understand. It is the landowner's responsibility to provide the information that shows the committee this use is still in keeping with the zone and area it is proposed for, and that the conditions placed on it will ensure it will be a good neighbor to the surrounding landowners. Specifically for travel trailers, and there was quite a bit of discussion about this yesterday, so I thought I'd go through that. I think Waushara County has handled them this way for quite some time and made them a conditional use where people come before the committee for a public hearing. There are certain requirements. One is that it not be visible from the road, that it's not something that everybody can see, that it has proper sanitary facilities, that the unit be kept licensed and roadworthy so it doesn't just deteriorate and then people start bringing in another one and the next thing you know you got 4 or 5 there. So there's several conditions outlined in the code, and that's what they're looking at with this application, so that if it meets all those conditions, it would be suitable for this area. on a parcel of this size zoned agricultural. The committee normally visits all the sites. Unfortunately, yesterday when we went out, only 2 of the members could go, so they didn't take on-site notes because we didn't have a quorum. But I'm going to tell you what I noticed. I noticed that you could not see the trailer from the road. You had to get back in there a ways before you could see it. There was a fire number there, and the driveway was actually cleared quite well. Sometimes we find these and you're afraid that if anything were to happen and you needed a fire truck or an ambulance, they weren't going to get in there. But I think this one was going to work for that. So those were the things I observed. I don't know if the people that were out there wanted to add anything to that, but that would be about it from.
Just that it was off the road quite a ways. Nobody can see it unless they're really straining through the trees. Maybe you could, but otherwise it's pretty well hidden back there.
And other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward, so.
Lloyd, is there anything you want to add? No? All right, that concludes our
What do you want?
That concludes our applications for tonight. The Board of Adjustments will meet now here, and we will conduct the rest of our business meeting in the room just outside to the right. Jerry, you can come with us tonight.
I'll follow you, boss.
Wanted to go with you.
Do you want to give that to Kyle? Thank you.
Oh, this is much more comfortable.
Yep.
Call this meeting of Waushara County Board of Adjustments to order. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the applications heard by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Please remember to keep your comments brief, no more than 5 minutes, and relative to the matter at hand. Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak at this hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator. The committee has looked at all the properties and the record will reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct their monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the public hearing. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Waushara County Circuit Court. Information on appeals is available from the Clerk of Court's office and qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. I'll introduce the rest of the committee. To my left are Larry Tim, Kevin Fitzgerald, Mark Schumacher, and John Zirk. My name is Roger Wagner. First variance to be considered tonight, Fred W. Malstiff, Evanstown, Illinois, has made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-542, paragraph C, paragraph 2, and 58-823, paragraph C, paragraph 1 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct an approximate 24 by 47 two-story single-family dwelling with a 22 by 24 attached garage and a 16 by 24 partially covered deck, existing dwelling and deck to be raised, coming to within 6 feet of the westerly and 5 feet of the easterly side lot lines, 15-foot setback required on an existing non-conforming lot, non-conforming due to lot width in the RS-20 single-family residential zone within the shoreline area. Location an approximate .230 acre parcel of land being part of lots 20 and 21 of Oak Ridge Plat, now lot 2 of certified survey map 2977, being part of a government lot 5, section 8, town 18, range 11, town of Marion, Silver Lake, W 6834, South Silver Lake Road. Is the applicant present? Come forward, please. State your name for the record.
Fred Malstaff.
Fred, is there anything you'd care to add at this time, or otherwise we've got some general questions for you?
No, I mean, you were all out there, so we dealt with some questions there, so.
Okay. Has there been a recent survey, or are you sure of the lot lines?
Sure of the lot lines, and the survey was in '94, which you think you have a copy of.
Okay. All the stakes were visible yet, and
Uh,
you had it
The
marked?
the ones on
well?
both sides, yeah.
Okay. Have you talked to your neighbors, Lake Management District and the town about this project?
Neighbors on my east side, yes. The others, I have not. No.
Any conversation with the Lake Management District or Township?
Not yet, no.
What do you plan on doing with the old cottage on the water?
Completely raised and removed, and the shoreline and the bank restored and vegetated.
Have you had a contractor out to look at the project?
My contractor is here tonight, Larry Keller. So
Okay.
questions of that nature addressed to him. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly not an easy job to remove, and I was just wondering if you've had a professional look at it, and he's confident it can be done.
You ask him. I think he's had an excavator out there to look at it at least. So
How are you planning on accessing the shore once the home is gone?
the current set of stairs and decks will be removed, and I'll have a new set of stairs down to the shoreline.
And the new home is going to be on a full basement,
Full basement, yes.
walkout, or?
No.
How far above existing grade will the first floor elevation be?
Not more than a foot. So just thickness of the joists and maybe 6 inches more. It's pretty flat there. So
I guess our concern is that you're not going to bring in a lot of fill and set it way up high,
oh,
or?
no.
And finished height of the new home at the highest point will be?
According to the architect, about 32 feet. So.
And you're aware we have a height limitation of
35, I think,
35,
yeah.
so you're going to be under that, correct? Okay.
How do you plan on dealing with stormwater runoff and potential erosion from both the old home being removed and where the new home is being placed?
An issue for the contractors to deal with, I would think. I mean, whatever it would take to avoid that, will do. So.
Do you want the contractor to come up now and address some of these, or?
Sure. Could you do that?
To your question on
State your name, please.
Larry Keller, LM Keller Construction. As far as the runoff, we could direct the water to the front side of the property and create a French drain if need be. The lot is really flat. I think you could get the water to run towards the road real easy, because we'll probably be about 8 inches above the virgin grade there with the top of our concrete. So there will be a minor slope from the driveway away from the foundation towards the road. And we could create a French drain if need be, if we see a problem there. The property to the east is a little higher than the grade there, so kind of a natural water flow to the road.
I mean, it just speaks to being located in the right spot compared to the existing home, obviously, and my question or concern is more about the removal of the existing home than it is the construction of the new one, because if it's not done incrementally and properly, you know, there could be some very severe impacts on the lake, and timing of the year, and obviously, usually what happens is before you break ground on new construction, we like to have the contractor meet with Land Conservation Department to go through erosion control, but this seems to lend itself to being something where it would be a good idea to meet with Land Conservation before you start the demolition of the old house, much less the construction of the new, so that, you know, the silt fences and all that stuff are put in, which is required for the new construction. It'd be nice to have it in before the demolition of the old. And I think I'd like to see that as something that, if you haven't met with them, I'd highly encourage you to do so before you start the demolition.
Definitely. I've met with Stafford. You're familiar with
Yep,
Stafford?
absolutely.
We've dug out quite a few. One recently on Johns Lake. A similar situation on a lake in Wapaka County. I think just knowing and being a conservationist myself, I like to hunt fish. I'm not going to contaminate, and we thought the best time of the year is wintertime to get this cleaned up properly. It's hanging over, literally over the water. If we need a crane, we'll be taking it out with a crane in pieces, whatever it takes. And cleanup would be as good as cleanup can get, being ice. You know, this is the best time of the year to do this.
So that's, I guess that was one of the other questions we were going to get to, is what time of year you're going to start construction. But what you're telling us is you're going to try to get the old cottage removed this winter.
This middle of winter.
Yep.
When the ice is hopefully 2 feet thick.
So you're going to be doing some of the removal over on the water itself then, across the
Well,
lake?
the cleanup.
The cleanup.
I'm going to try to take everything out from the top by crane or hi-ho, Skytrack we have, strap, cut, pull up from the top. The debris that will be cleaned up on the ice, I mean, it's not any debris. It would be minor, would be an easy cleanup.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other improvements planned at this time then?
The stairs I mentioned, I'd like to talk about an equipment building down at the lake shore if there's a spot for that, but that's not on this proposal at the moment.
All other setbacks will be met then, correct?
From the road and from the shoreline, yes.
The property is unique, I guess, and we got to say that, and
It's an eyesore to the public, but it's lovely to be in. But, you know, it's a trade-off. So,
any other questions?
Fred, when we were out there, you said the old well was a sand point down by the shore. How are you going to handle that with the removal of that?
a new well up at the top. I mean, the exact location hasn't been chosen.
I understand that, but how are we going to abandon the old well? Does your contractor tell us that?
And I think the DNR requires a well abandonment report be filed. I'm not sure if a well installer has to abandon the well too, but
There is a well abandonment
report
form
that
and
has to be filed with the DNR,
file
so.
it.
You wanna just ask your well driller about that, he'll know.
I don't know if it's, I'm not an expert, but I don't know if it's legal to pull a sand point and just to pull the pipe out.
As opposed to,
Well, that's why we just, if we approve this, we just say that it would need to be abandoned according to DNR requirements, and then they deal with that.
Okay.
I mean,
you know.
they should be following all
Yep.
requirements, asbestos removal and all that stuff too.
Okay.
Really. Tearing down an old house, so.
Okay, if there's no other questions, you can have a chair then.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Correspondence?
Yes, we have one letter received yesterday from Attorney Richard Pitzner. Dear Waushara County Zoning Board, enclosed for your reference is a copy of the Waushara County Zoning Office notice of a hearing this Thursday to consider a variance request made by Fred W. Mulstuff, Evanston, Illinois, for a variance from the 15-foot side lot setback requirement to allow construction of a two-story dwelling coming to within 6 feet of the westerly and 5 feet of the easterly side lot lines for lots 20 and 21 of Oak Ridge Plat, Lot 2 of Certified Survey Map number 2977. We represent Pelican and Associates LLC that owns contiguous Lot 19 and the contiguous 34 feet of Lot 18. Pelican and Associates LLC objects to the granting of a variance because of the detrimental effect it will have on their contiguous lot on Silver Lake. The 15-foot setback was established with good reason. An allowance of the Mulstaff variance would result in construction of his dwelling too close to the Pelican and Associates LLC lot. The granting of this variance would also set a bad precedent for all other lots on Silver Lake Road by effectively authorizing remodeling or demolition and construction of improvements that would create a density that was intended to be avoided by the 15-foot setback requirement. Michael Pelican will be appearing personally at the hearing on behalf of Pelican Associates to support this objection to the requested variance. And again, that's signed Richard Pitzner, P-I-T-Z-N-E-R. I should add, when this came in, I started looking at it, and I did call Mr. Pitzner because I think they thought this was the lot next door that was for sale, because Pelican is one over, and he said he was going to contact the landowner, and if there was any change, he'd get back to me, and I have not heard any more from him, but I do see that Steve Pelican is registered to speak, so hopefully that'll get clarified at that time, because I don't think they had the right lot that was going to be built on, so.
Okay.
That's it for correspondence.
Okay, we have registered in favor but not speak, Larry Keller.
You
Okay.
registered to speak? Do you have anything more you'd like to add?
Okay. Then we have speak in opposition, Steve Pelican.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. My name is Steve Pelican, and my property is, you're correct about that. My lawyer thought it was the one that was for sale. Our property is West 6842 South Silver Lake Road, okay? So we are not next to Fred's property. We're one over, okay? Again, it was for sale. Our attorney messed that up. You guys did receive the letter. I appreciate that, okay? All right, just go ahead. Speak?
Yeah.
Okay, alrighty. As I mentioned before, we're owners at West 6842 South Silver Lake Road, okay? And we just want to be on the record that we're opposed to the setback, not new construction, not tearing down what we call the old treehouse. We're just opposed to the setback variance, okay? Years ago, we also sent a letter to the same board for a similar piece of property, West 6834 Silver Lake Road, where some variances were granted next or east to Fred's new property, okay? Our reasons for opposing this is we just feel as though it's detrimental to the property, neighboring property values as these homes become closer and closer to the property line. We have some concerns with a 5-foot and a 6-foot setback from property lines. Our concerns are as follows. during the construction process, digging a basement 5 feet from an existing property line, that can pose some problems with erosion control, things like that. And then one of the other concerns that we have is ongoing maintenance and tree management. If you've been out there and you talked a little bit about the conservative paperwork, trees are dying out there like crazy. The red pines are dying, and we're concerned about a 5-foot and 6-foot setback to property lines, about how you can get any kind of equipment on that hillside to move trees out. Those are types of concerns that we have with such a tight setback. Again, we're not opposed to new construction, and we're not opposed to removing the old building. We just want to be on the record about the setbacks, okay? We believe a 60% reduction from the 15-foot setback just makes those houses too tight, all right? We've been there since the 1960s, and, you know, it's just not the same place anymore, and we think the ordinances are there for a reason. We want Fred to have a wonderful new home there. We want to welcome him to the neighborhood, but we just want to be on record as opposed to the setbacks. And we think that it degrades the original setbacks if there's a 60% reduction from a 15 to a 5 or a 15 to a 6. And that's what I have. Any questions for me? Thank you for your time.
Is there a setback that you feel would be more reasonable or acceptable? You know, if you maintain 15 feet from each lot line, you know, you're only going to have a 10-foot wide house. So obviously, if you're going to build a new home, there's going to have to be some sort of a relaxation to the side lot lines.
Correct. And I understand that.
So in your opinion, what would be an acceptable setback or reasonable, or are there
Reasonable to me, you know, you can't go back in time and fix the lot, the non-conformant lot there. Thanks for helping. You can't go back in time and fix that, and I understand that. Okay, you know, but over half is kind of where I'm at, where, you know, you take a 15 and you go 66% is 5 feet. That's what we're being asked for. You open up a screen door to that side, you have 36 inches, 3 feet. Now you have two to the property lines. And we're just concerned that next one that gets sold is going to be next to us. I understand that it's a very thin, non-conformant lot. You know, I would like to see north of 50% would be reasonable.
Thank you.
And again, no ill will, Fred, at all. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Staff comments?
For the record, again, the board has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the data that relates to this application and the other one that they will be considering tonight. They also visited both of the properties and viewed the proposals and their location on the lot. At this time, I'd like to explain a little bit about variances. Variances ask for a relaxation of a dimensional standard in the code. The decision to grant a variance must be backed by substantive reasons, which include an unnecessary hardship is being caused by the code requirement. There are unique limitations on the property that prevent the landowner from meeting the required dimensional standards, and that if the variance is granted, no harm would be done to the public interest or the zoning code. It's again the applicant's responsibility to present the case and provide that burden of proof as to why the variance should be granted. Personal situation of the applicant, financial hardship, or nearby violations cannot be considered as valid reasons to grant a variance. When the board visited the property, they noted that the new construction was clearly staked out and that there was a lot of non-conforming structures, construction, whatever you want to call it, that was down at, and some even was below the ordinary high water mark of Silver Lake, and that clearing this out, if done properly, would improve the lake shore probably quite a bit, maybe even tremendously, and it certainly would improve the view from the lake onto the shoreline. And that's pretty much it for my comments.
Okay, would the applicant have anything in rebuttal? If you do, come on. Yeah, come on forward if you do.
I have a question for the contractor too, if he'd want to come up.
I just wanted to make clear that the actual foundation setbacks are going to be a little bit more than the 5 and 6 feet that's in the proposal. But you saw I would put the tape measure on, and it was 7, 8 feet on the west side. So just wanted to add that.
Sir?
Yes.
Looking at your site plan here.
Yes.
It's pretty clear to me that the existing home is substantially closer to the lot lines than what the proposed one is. Is that correct?
Yes, the current house is essentially on the lot line on the east side.
So if side
On
lot-
both sides.
So if side lot lines are concerned, actually removing the existing home and building the new would make it more conforming to the side lot lines than what the existing is.
Much
Okay. Okay. And then, if you're through, then I had some questions for the contractor. The concerns by the neighbor one lot to the west were construction within 5 to 6 feet of the lot line and tree removal, and I guess I'll try to ask this in one question, is what measures do you use when you construct a home that's substantially closer to the lot lines than the required setback of 15 feet? And have you had experience with constructing homes that close to lot lines? So, how do you do it, and what do you do to make sure the neighboring lots are protected? And then the other thing he asked about was tree removal, and if you could address that too, please.
Well, the tree removal, there is gonna be a couple trees when the house on the slope comes out. There's gonna be a couple trees that we won't leave standing because disturbing the ground, the roots are gonna be damaged. As far as the tree removal up on top of the lot, on the flat, will all be done by a professional tree remover. Before we break ground. Anything close to the lot lines will, in the wintertime, again, is the best time to do it. We can eliminate our overdig. We addressed one tree on a lot line with the property owners to the east. They're here. And I wouldn't feel comfortable if I do not feel comfortable on leaving that tree, we're gonna take it at the time of excavation.
But you have had experience digging that close to lot lines, and you're comfortable doing that, and you're confident that you can protect neighboring property owners?
Stratton Lake was a 10-foot high basement, 9 feet from the lot lines. Our overdig, we had some pine trees that we took one pine tree when we went through a root system that we knew was gonna devastate the tree. So we look at that prior to digging and talked to the bordering. And again, this lot is so flat and up on top. Really, the trees to the west, there is nothing there that's gonna harm. Nothing will run. The lot is very conducive to digging this close to the lot lines without damaging the neighboring properties.
All right, thank you.
There you go, Chris.
Yes. You stated that you contacted one of the neighbors and they did not object.
They're here, correct.
Okay, which neighbor is that?
Judy Pulls.
Pulse property? Okay. Just for the record, the other neighbors are notified of the situation also. Because I would be concerned about, building close to a property if the neighbors objected.
Okay.
Everyone within 300 feet is notified?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next variance to be considered, Jeffrey and Lindy Swenson, Mequon, Wisconsin, made an application in accordance with section 58-235, paragraph A, paragraph 5, paragraph A, and 58-823, paragraph C, and paragraph 2 of the Washera County zoning code to construct a 8x18 screen porch, existing 6x9 covered porch to be raised, proposed improvements exceeding maintenance and repair allowed to an existing non-conforming structure, non-conforming due to location, less than half the required distance to the westerly side lot line, on a non-conforming lot, non-conforming due to lot width in the RS20 single-family residential zone within the shoreline area. Location, a parcel of land being lot 1 of certified survey map 1912, also known as Lot C, Block 1 of Leona Grove Plat, being part of Government Lot Number 6, Section 20, Town of Leon, Pearl Lake, W4656, South Pearl Lake Road. Is the applicant here? Yes. Would you come forward, please?
Hello, my name's Jeff Swenson.
Hey, Jeff, good to have you here. Anything to add at this time?
No, that pretty much describes what we're trying to do.
I must say, yours was the most uniquely staked one we've seen in a long time.
But it was the most patriotic.
Yes, it was.
I'm in the flag business. We make American flags.
Oh, is that right?
I put
Okay.
those out for 4th of July and all the holidays, and those are the sticks I had.
We saw the flags, and then Roger saw the tape, so then we knew we were at the right place there, so.
Good, the tape stayed on the house then.
It did. It did. Anything else you care to add at this time, or just some
I don't
general
think so.
questions? Okay. Are you sure the lot line's out there?
Yes.
Recent survey, or have you established the markers?
Survey a while ago when we bought the property, but I'm well aware where they are.
Can you explain the discrepancy of the west lot line location on the site plan signed by the soil tester in 2006?
I'm not aware of the discrepancy.
Do you want to look at this? When the septic system plan was done, looks like this is a survey from your neighbor's lot.
Okay.
And this shows the line of the CSM this shows the line of the CSM that's on your deed. And this shows the line of the old lots in the Leona Grove plat.
The information that I have is from the
CSM,
CFM line, yes.
yeah, but,
I'm not aware of the other one.
yeah, and I was looking at this, and I did talk to the county surveyor about it, and then I looked at the deeds, and your deed does say that you own the lot of the CSM, so the line would be here. But this person's deeds say that they own these 2 lots of the old Leona Grove plat, leading me to believe that there might be an overlap in the description. So that might be something that should be looked into and addressed.
Can certainly do that. That's my brother-in-law passed away this past year, but my sister-in-law owns that property.
Okay, so it might be something that could be fixed relatively easy too. That's good. That's good. If there was, well, yeah, we were, I mean, I looked at it, and then the board was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk to the county surveyor, and it's like, I'm not sure, you know, whether there was just a mistake made somewhere along the line or what, but,
That survey actually shows that my house is on that property.
right, right.
Was that an issue that was brought up at the time when they got the permit to do their modifications?
Here?
Yes.
No, I don't think anyone's really noticed it until now. And this isn't, I don't even know what this survey is. It was done by a surveyor, I know that. But it was submitted with a septic permit because it's been signed by a soil tester, so it wasn't even submitted by, and I can give you copies of this. I think this is from the sanitary or the septic evaluation that was done.
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of that, but That's easily taken care of.
right, yeah, that's, and it probably should be.
I can from her too, I'm sure she has that, probably, I'm not sure if you're able to find it, but if I can get a copy from you, that'd be great.
Sure, sure. And just have it checked out, because I wasn't able to come up with a definitive answer.
Okay.
Have you talked to the neighbors, Lake Association or Township about the project here?
Talk to the Lake Association, talk to the neighbors, yes.
What type of foundation will the porch be on?
4 piers?
Any filling or grading going to be brought in?
No.
Finished height is gonna be similar to what you got?
It's gonna actually be a little bit lower, there'll be one step down from the house into it to help accommodate the slant of the roof for adequate door opening.
And how do you plan on dealing with the stormwater runoff from the porch?
I'm not planning on having gutters. I'm certainly open to what's necessary, I can do that, but I don't have gutters on any other parts of the house.
That was my next question. You don't have gutters on the existing house?
No.
Correct, okay.
I have a metal roof, and the snow slides and the gutters would be a detriment to that and probably tear off every year.
Okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
No.
Okay. All other setbacks will be met?
Yes.
And septic system is
Away on the other side of the house?
On the roadside of the house,
roadside?
yes.
Okay,
Opposite.
okay. What are the hardships or unique property limitations that would support the variance?
I'm too close to the west lot line.
Okay.
But you guys would like to not have that as an issue every time. But it happens up here in the older surveys and the way things were laid out.
Have you thought about removing any of the structures down by the water and restoring the shoreline at all, or?
No, the stairs going down to the water, is that what you're referring to? I wouldn't have any access to the water if I didn't have the staircase there.
Any structures down by the water that you'd be planning on removing or anything?
That's not my plan. When we did get a variance for the addition we put on, we were required to remove the old boathouse and were allowed to build a replacement more centered in the lot, which we did. Or actually, I bought it and brought it across the ice and put it up on there, but that was.
Is that a little pump house down there or something, or?
It used to be a pump house. I store a couple chairs in it now, the littlest piece there, yes.
Is there a well in there?
No.
The well is out?
Yes. That was abandoned when we winterized the house upstairs and drilled a new well.
And the reason you're back is you just didn't consider expanding the porch the last time you had a variance, or?
No.
Okay. Didn't feel the need at that time, and?
That would be her. No, we were excited to add on to the property, add on to the house to make it a little bit more livable, some more space. But grandkids and stuff, it's nice to sit outside in summer and not have bugs bite you. So that's where the idea came up this summer.
Any other committee questions?
So when you gonna start?
As soon as the frost is out.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, get out of chair then, thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence,
No correspondence and no one registered.
staff comments?
I actually talked to the DNR and he said he didn't have any comments, and I said, does that mean you won't send a letter? And he said yes, so I think I got through to him. Yep. Just for your information, even if DNR had no comments, they tended to write this big, long letter that we had to read just to tell us they had no comments, so I talked to him about that, and I think he
Paid by
finally.
the word, right?
Yep, I don't know, there was something about it. So here's another variance. You know, again, it's the property owner's responsibility to present their case and provide that burden of proof as to why the variance should be granted. When the board visited the property, they noted that the steps, landings, and retaining walls along the shoreline appeared to be out of the viewing corridor and not in complete conformance with the requirements currently in Waushara County Code. And they also noted that the pump house may no longer be necessary. As far as my comments go, obviously we gotta fix that lot line issue now that we're aware of it. So that's something that I would certainly, recommend be looked into regardless of whether, you decide to approve the variance or not. That's pretty much it for my comments.
Okay,
I just one other question for Jeff. The porch that's there now, you're gonna move it, the new porch will be farther from the lot line this way, correct?
Right, originally that was not the thought, and that's why the dimensions on the plan that we had, not what I wrote, you wrote what the contractor drew. But that puts the start of the porch and the transition in between the window.
Yeah.
Which is going to work, so it's moved back over between the window and the door, so it is about a foot or so, foot and a half further away from the lot line.
All right, I just wanted to get that on the record.
okay, thank you. No other questions? Okay, that closes the public hearing for tonight, and we'll go right into our business meeting then. Okay, we'll call the meeting in order. Roll call will show everyone